Welcome to part 2 of my 2021 adventure ride in the Death Valley. My friends went on a ride on their dual sports somewhere not too far from our base camp in Stovepipe Wells. I decided instead to check on the reports I had heard of snow in the racetrack in the north end of the park. That's when having a larger adventure motorcycle pays off in the Death Valley and on several other riding situations. Because going to the racetrack from Stovepipe Wells involves a good amount of miles on paved roads all the way to the Ubehibe crater, and riding on pavement is not the best use for a dual sport. So here I am, riding north towards the Ubehibe crater, from where I'll get on the dirt road that goes up to the racetrack. Talking about the crater itself, I did some research. The Ubehibe craters were formed in a single eruption episode about 2,100 years ago, making it one of the most recent volcanic events in Southern California. Check this photo. The Ubehibe crater's beauty is enhanced by the gray skies, making its dark and bright colors more vibrant. From the Ubehibe crater, I took the Racetrack Valley Road. This road goes up to Cattle Junction, and from there to the racetrack. From the perspective of an adventure rider, this is not a difficult road to ride at all, but it is very uncomfortable. It's a washboard from beginning to end. It's better to go faster than slower, if you are comfortable going faster, of course. The video footage going up this road is not very good. I may have touched the back screen of the camera at some point, moving it to a wrong setting. On the way back, the footage will be perfect, smooth, 4K with image stabilization on. But for now, check the snow on the highest elevation of this road. Eventually I got to the Tea Kettle Junction, and while there I got into a photo shoot mode. Some say in early times someone left a tea kettle on this road junction to show travelers there was water nearby, and somehow a tradition of hanging tea kettles started. All I know is that after passing through here several times, it seems like park rangers harvest the tea kettles every now and then, but then the tea kettles grow back. Well, you tell me what story makes the most sense. From this junction you can go to Hunter Mountain and the Hunter Cabin, and it connects to Sailing Valley Road. Or you can continue to the racetrack, or you can also go past the racetrack to Lippincott Pass from here, and which will also take you to Sailing Valley Road. I've been here a few times already, as these older photos indicate, coming from and going to all the three different roads. Today, my goal was a simple ride to the racetrack. The big attraction for me to come to the racetrack under these conditions is because a combination of snow, water, ice, and wind is what creates this playa's famous and mysterious rock movements, and I believe that's why it's called the racetrack. There were several theories for how these rocks moved, but only as recent as December of 2013, scientists were able to witness and confirm the most accepted theory, that this is a natural occurrence due to a combination of factors which the official Death Valley National Park brochure describes as: first, the playa fills with water, which must be deep enough to allow formation of floating ice, but shallow enough to expose the rocks. As night temperatures plummet, the pond freezes to form sheets of window pane ice, which must be thin enough to move freely but thick enough to maintain strength. On sunny days, the ice begins to melt and breaks up into large floating panels which light winds drive across the playa pool. The ice sheets shove rocks in front of them, and the moving stones leave trails in the soft mud below the pool surface. Well, I wanted to see with my own eyes that these conditions existed. I wanted to be there at a time when these rocks may have moved, even if I could not watch the actual activity because I could not walk to them. That is, I did not walk into the playa because it was obviously muddy. But that hasn't stopped others from going there and spoiling the experience for all. Footprints or tire marks, like this one which are left when the playa is muddy, will be imprinted on the playa for many years to come. The day and time I was there was definitely water in the playa, and I know the temperature at night went below freezing, and at the time I was there it was warm enough to melt some of the ice that may have formed at night. Conditions that may have led to some rock movement. I left the area with a sense of accomplishment. Now I hope you enjoy this beautiful scenery as I race back to the Ube crater to avoid potential precipitation of the snow kind on my way back. I wanted to avoid the possibility of being stuck there. The skies were not looking good in the horizon, exactly in the direction I had to travel through, where I knew there was already some snow on the ground. In the end, it was all good. But check how beautiful it is to be mostly alone, riding my motorcycle on this beautiful area of the world. What a privilege. Enjoy a few minutes of video of this ride. dirt turns from beige to black when you're getting close to the Ubehibe crater. I passed through the crater one more time and started traveling south to the base camp where food was being prepared for later in the evening. This is a great thing about these rides, coming back to camp for a meal cooked by one of the guys.
Where is everybody?
We're out riding.
Oh, why did you come back?
I stayed to cook. We rode this morning and I said, I'm getting a little tired. I'll just stay. Take me 3 hours to cook, so...
What are you cooking?
Tri-tip and sausage.
I'm going to park and...
Yeah, park
and come back and help you to this. All right.
The plan we discussed for the next day was to do Mango Pass. I would not go for the Mango Pass. I would go to Ballarat with them and bring some extra gasoline for the motorcycles with smaller tanks, and which would need some extra gasoline to complete the loop. Here are some images of the first part of that ride, going over Immigrant Canyon Road and connecting to Wild Rose Road, then to Trona Wild Rose Road, and then we take the option of getting into the dirt roads to get to Ballarat, which is the Indian Ranch Road.
You guys catch up with me, I'll just keep going.
John? Where's John?
This road is a lot of fun.
No doubt.
Ballarat, you may already know, has a connection to Charles Manson, who was the Manson family cult leader and who had a hiding spot not too far from Ballarat, over in the Mango Pass area, called the Barker Range. These photos, which are from a trip I made there in 2018, show what's left of the range after it caught fire some time ago. That's actually where Charles Manson was caught. People say this power wagon used to belong to his friend and cult member Tex Watson. Because this is a historical place, even if for negative reasons, and because of its location in the Death Valley, this is a place I recommend for a visit. Our group got together there, they filled up the tanks with the extra gasoline, and then they rolled up to Mango Pass, and I rode back to camp. On the way back, I noticed the rear shock was bottoming out frequently.
Well, for the first incursion here into Death Valley, approved in terms of performance. Really loved it. Going up to racetrack or going to Ballarat on those dirt roads, you know, gravel roads. But there's a little problem. The problem is right here.
All fluid had left the shock. Accumulated somewhere there.
All right. Mission accomplished. Great rides. Blown shock on the motorcycle. What can I do? Let's have a beer. Let's go to the swimming pool. Let's maybe take a shower.
Eventually, the guys got back from their ride and we had another nice meal together. In the next morning, I woke up early to load the trailer and I started my 800-mile trip back to Oregon. This time, I was set to avoid the snow that I described in part 1 of this video. I can see the snow was gone from all passes on 395. I went back to Susanville and this time I took a beeline toward Interstate 5. But what is that? Fog? Snow? Once again I had to stop the truck and lock the hubs. I survived all the way to the highest point near Mount Shasta, where I stopped to fill up before getting into Interstate 5. But with the weather the way it was, I feared Interstate 5 was not necessarily going to be a safer bet. In fact, I joined I-5 just behind a squadron of snowplows. And after that, it was rain all the way back home, with rain turning to snow on all the I-5 passes I went through. It was not necessarily a better drive than what I encountered on the way down to California on the back roads. In any case, I made it home safely. About my 790's rear shock, I took a closer look at it at my shop. I contacted the local KTM dealer, the Grays Area KTM, and they rebuilt the rear shock at no cost to me under KTM instructions. That was 2 years ago, and many miles later, it's still working good. Thank you for watching this video.